$4 quadrillion, a staggering amount. $4 quadrillion every single year. That's roughly the annual notional value DTCC settles every year in U.S. securities markets. Now imagine trying to settle every single trade instantly, in real time, gross, one by one, with no netting. According to Nadine Chakar, DTCC's global head of digital assets, the math simply doesn't add up. She put it bluntly. We net at 98%. $4 quadrillion isn't enough money in the system, intergalactically, to be able to settle in real-time gross settlement. This isn't a minor operational detail. This is the brutal reality check on one of finance's biggest dreams, instant atomic settlement. And it has massive implications for tokenization, blockchain, crypto markets, and the future of how money actually moves. You are watching the Signal and Noise podcast, where we separate the signal from the noise with raw data and no emotions and bias. Make sure to like and subscribe. Watch to the end for the ultimate signal. Settlement is the final step where the buyer gets the asset and the seller gets the money. In traditional markets, this doesn't happen instantly. For decades, it was T+2, trade date plus 2 business days. The U.S. successfully moved to T+1 in May 2024 after years of industry coordination led by DTCC, SIFMA, and ICI. That shift reduced risk, freed up capital faster, and proved the industry can move when it works together. The next frontier many talk about is T+0, or true real-time gross settlement, where every trade settles immediately and individually. On paper, it sounds perfect. Less counterparty risk, faster capital recycling, 24/7 global efficiency. In crypto and DeFi, we already have versions of this with atomic swaps and on-chain settlement. But traditional markets move quadrillions. The scale changes everything. Here's where the math gets interesting. In clearing and settlement, most trades don't require moving the full notional value. Through netting, buys and sells are offset against each other. If you buy 1,000 shares of Apple and sell 900 shares of Apple on the same day through the same clearer, you only need to settle the net 100 shares. DTCC's systems, especially NSCC's continuous net settlement or CNS, achieve extremely high netting efficiency, reportedly around 98% in many cases. That means only about 2% of the total notional value actually needs to be funded and moved on any given day. This is massive. It dramatically reduces the liquidity required across the system. Without netting, every single trade would need its own full funding in real time. The liquidity demands would explode. Think of it like this. Netting is carpooling on a massive scale. Real-time gross settlement is everyone driving their own car alone, way more vehicles needed on the road. Chakar's point is that even with the enormous scale DTCC handles, the current infrastructure and available liquidity rely heavily on that 98% netting efficiency. Removing it would require intergalactic amounts of money moving simultaneously, which simply isn't there today. Real-time gross settlement sounds great in theory, but it creates real-world problems at scale. Liquidity strain. Participants would need to pre-fund or have instant access to vastly more cash or securities for every individual trade. During volatile periods or high-volume days, this could freeze markets or require enormous standby liquidity facilities. Increased fails and operational risk. More individual settlements equals more opportunities for errors, mismatches, or fails. Today's netting smooths this out. Predictive financing challenges. Firms currently forecast and manage liquidity needs based on net positions. Instant gross settlement makes funding unpredictable. Systemic implications. In stress scenarios, removing netting's risk-mitigating benefits could amplify problems rather than reduce them. This is why the industry moved successfully to T+1, but has been more cautious about rushing to T+0 or RTGS. DTCC's own white papers and industry reports highlighted these exact barriers. The US T+1 transition showed impressive coordination and risk reduction. Pushing further requires solving these liquidity and operational puzzles first, or redesigning large parts of the plumbing. This is where blockchain and tokenization enter the conversation, and where nuance matters. Tokenization can enable atomic settlement, asset and cash exchange simultaneously in specific use cases, reducing some risk. DTCC itself is actively building a DTC tokenization service with initial limited production trades targeted for July 2026 and broader launch in October 2026. Partners include major banks and asset managers. These systems aim to improve settlement certainty and collateral mobility, especially for tokenized real-world assets like treasuries or funds. However, scaling this to the core ecosystem faces math problems. Liquidity still needs to be available for gross movements. Privacy, resiliency, and regulatory requirements are non-negotiable. Interoperability between new digital rails and legacy systems adds complexity. Nadine, Chakar, and DTCC have emphasized risk-disciplined adoption. Tokenization is powerful, but it's not a magic bullet that instantly solves the liquidity math for the entire traditional market. Hybrid models using DLT for specific asset classes while leveraging existing netting infrastructure are likely the realistic path. For crypto and DeFi, many protocols already operate closer to real-time or atomic settlement. This quote is a reminder of why scaling is hard. It reinforces why institutional-grade infrastructure matters. For traditional markets, it reinforces why T+1 was a smart step. The math doesn't add up isn't defeatist. It's a call for smarter evolution. Faster settlement requires parallel advances. We're likely to see continued progress in tokenized segments and specific high-value use cases, while core markets evolve gradually. The goal isn't instant everything tomorrow. It's better, safer, more efficient markets over time. It's easy to misread this as instant settlement is impossible, or blockchain can never scale. That's not accurate. Full real-time gross settlement across the entire legacy system would require fundamental changes in liquidity and infrastructure. Netting delivers enormous efficiency benefits that shouldn't be discarded lightly. Tokenization and DLT offer powerful tools. Success depends on thoughtful integration, not wholesale replacement. DTCC and the industry are actively working on this. The quote highlights engineering and liquidity realities at massive scale. It's a healthy dose of pragmatism. The math behind instant settlement is brutal at quadrillion-dollar scale, and that's why voices like Nadine, Chakar are emphasizing risk discipline. The next steps will come through targeted innovation like tokenization, better liquidity tools, and hybrid architectures. This isn't the end of the conversation about faster settlement. It's a clearer map ahead. What do you think? Will we see meaningful T+0 progress in specific markets soon, or is the industry right to move carefully? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want more deep dives on financial infrastructure, tokenization, and settlement evolution, subscribe and hit the bell. What do you want us to discuss? Do you want us to discuss how tokenized repo markets are rewiring global credit? Or how atomic settlement is restructuring market infrastructure? This is Signal and Noise. The plumbing matters and the numbers tell the real story. Stay curious,